Yeah, you never wanted to drink
No,
or get drunk in any way or get high on drugs because of your relationship with your mom.
it really is. I'm an only child to my mother, and my father, though, not surprisingly, was a hound if it moved.
Mhm.
And I became my father early on. Um, but my mother was totally devoted to myself. I didn't know any of that stuff growing up. You just think, oh, it's your mom. She's always there.
Right.
You're not aware that the rest of the world is different and all that. And I couldn't speak English. I was born in Israel. My
Mhm.
mother survived at 14 years of age Nazi concentration camps of Germany. And I think you have to tie Germany and Nazi together. They can't stand beside because it was invented there, and the entire population, hook, line, and sinker, went for it. It was a decade or more of madness. At any rate, um, she had such a bad early childhood, such a bad life. I didn't think I had the right to disappoint her.
Mm.
I did a paper early on in college, and strangely, maybe in hindsight, I thought that's a strange subject. It was about real killers, real bad guys, some psychos, serial killers,
Mhm.
and so on, and they get sentenced to death
Mhm.
in the days when the death penalty was more prevalent. And the subject matter that comes up most universally anywhere in the world is their mother.
Mm.
Either they forgive him or they talk, or right before mom. Yeah.
Really.
Yep.
So you're showing that our moms obviously have tremendous impact on
Well,
us.
she was
Yes.
always my moral compass. If my mother hadn't been there, I would have gone to the dark side easily because at any time your friends are outside smoking, drinking, but hey, let's go. You get in trouble. My mother always had a different point of view, and I kept going to the library every day after school, and I got that from my mother. She said, "You're going to either work with your hands or with your brain. If you don't want to work with your hands and get tired and not make a lot of money, if you work with your brain, you're going to make a lot of money. You have to go to that house right over there, and everything is free in there." She told me about the library
Mm.
in a real way. It's the house of God. All information ever is available there for free, and it's up to you. And
And
now, of
this
course, it's available for free right here.
exactly. And this was in Israel or when you came here
Here.
to America? Here in
Yeah,
America.
here. I,
You came
I
here when you were
came
10 years old, right?
8. I'll do a joke. I was 8 before I was 9, Michael.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
so I came here with my mother when I was 8 and a half and studied to be a rabbi of all things.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. And, my mother did the right thing just to keep me off the streets. So pretty much 24 hours a day I was in this place. Learn half the day was, the Bible and all that stuff. Then the other half of the day was English and history and all that. And we would finish 7:30 at night. This is a yeshiva. I speak Hebrew and some other languages as well. And I had some time before the 7:30 and the 9:30 class, which began 9:30 p.m. This was very strict, like 6 days a week, not 5.
Mm.
And I'd go to the library, which was across the street, a block away. And I couldn't believe it. You could watch TV, you could read newspapers. I'm the only guy I ever met who read the Encyclopedia Britannica cover to cover.
Mm.
So I'm a real bore at parties. I start talking about the Australopithecines, otherwise known as Australopithecus africanus, which was later changed to Australopithecus afarensis, which was discovered in the Olduvai Gorge in Tanganyika by Ellis
You
Leakey.
lost
Everybody's
me
like,
on all
"The
of
hell?"
that.
Of course.
Yes. Wow.
My mother's everything. I say is because she's with me every day. I've got her photos all over the house. Uh, Again, without my mother, I wouldn't be here or anything. She completely sacrificed her every living moment to me. And I didn't understand it because when you're a young kid, can I have a piece of bread with jam on it? That's all you think about.
Yeah.
But I, my mother was not schooled in the classic sense. By the time she was 14, she was in concentration camps. So school was not part of her life. And when she started working in America, it was in a sweat factory in Brooklyn.
Mm.
No minimum wage, no nothing. You work 6 days a week, and you're lucky. You're lucky after 6 days if you made $100.
Yeah.
That was a
I
lot.
remember those
80.
days.
And we lived in a one-bedroom. $37.50 was the monthly rent. I lived with my mother at 99 South 9th Street in Bedford, in Williamsburg. And then we moved to Jackson Heights. But
That's where
I
grew
remember
up.
the first, you know this area.
Yeah.
I used to walk across the Brooklyn Bridge and
Yeah.
couldn't believe that I was looking over the edge and it was man-made and all. Just loved it.
Yeah. Did you ever go to Creashy's restaurant? Remember Creashy's?
Of course.
Yeah. Beaumonti's. over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The old hood.
Well, in around there, the streets were safe at night.
Absolutely.
The farther away you got from there, not so much.
That's right. That's right.
So I remember one of the first big checks, because my mother was not about checks. She got cash. She got paid in cash. And I gave my mother the checks. And I remember my mother didn't understand who paid me, what's the office, what are your working hours, when do you go to work, where do you go to work, and how did you make this money? It's just this vague, there's a lot of money. So she didn't understand zeros at the end. So there was an 8-figure check I gave her. Go buy whatever you want, houses, whatever you like, just go buy it. And my mother didn't understand, there was 6 zeros, then there was a 7th zero, then there was another number on top of it. She didn't understand what, or couldn't fathom that. And she said something to me telling, which is something I adhere to even today. Wonderful, that's what she would say. Now what are you going to do? Which is, yesterday's news is nice, but whatever it is you're doing, and every day above ground is a good day. So whatever you achieved in the past is okay. I'm being more poetic about it, but the past didn't mean much to my mother. It was always about today and what are you going to do? Because if my mother dwelled on the past,
Yeah, it'll be
that
bad.
wouldn't be good.
So tremendous impact is the answer, without a doubt.
My mother would always keep asking me, even though I corrected her, how is the orchestra?
That's
Mom,
what-
the band is good. Well,
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Did she enjoy your music, by the way?
No. She didn't. She didn't understand.
didn't
it.
understand.
No, but she was at every show at Madison Square Garden, and
Really?
everything, and she would always elbow the poor guy who was beside her, and always, which I used to do and continue to do, which means "I love you" in sign language. I've got the Dalai Lama and the Pope. Everybody's doing this because it's a good thing. Yeah.
What did she think about your makeup and everything?
Well, she didn't, of course, she didn't understand it at first. We played the Fillmore East. We were the very last band to play there, but it was not a concert. It was already closed. We rehearsed there for our first show, and we did 5 songs, I remember. It was invited guests, maybe 20 people. And at the end, we came back out to greet the people. And I remember my mother going down the opposite side of the walkway and went up to Paul, thinking that was me.
Oh, really? She couldn't tell you apart.
No.